next ratios are the long-term financial stability ratios. So we've looked at the short-term, ones that deal only with stuff within 12 months. Now we're looking at the long-term. Overall in the long-term, how well is the business placed with their debts? And so there's two ratios that we're going to be looking at here. One is the debt to equity ratio, and then the second one is the debt to assets ratio. So each of these are a ratio, so they're to 1. So we'll get into the first one. So now we're going to be using total figures. So there, the formula for debt to equity is total liabilities divided by total owner's equity. What does it mean? Well, this just looks at how is the business being financed. Is it being financed from the owners, or is it mostly being financed from the banks using liabilities or debt? So the debt to equity, if it's less than 1:1, then mostly it's coming from the owner. The owner is actually, or equity financing is doing it. But if it's more than 1:1, then they're actually looking more at liabilities. They're actually looking at banks for funding. Now, is it good or bad? Well, there's positives and negatives to both. But the more debt that you have, the riskier it can be. So, this can be riskier to fund a business with more debt, whereas if it's more funded by the owner, then it's less risk. So the higher this is, the more risk you have. Now the next ratio is the debt to assets ratio. By the way, debt is just another way of saying liabilities, so same wording. So we have debt to assets, we've got total liabilities divided by total assets. So again, this is a ratio, that's to 1, and this just shows how much funding has been using liabilities. So I've got an example there of a figure of 0.6 to 1, indicates the assets have been funded using 60% liabilities. And again, that's good, and it's always written the figure something to 1. Now, if it is, so this figure should always be less than 1:1. If it is more than 1:1, that means you have more debt than you have your assets. And guess what? That's not a great position to be in. That's extremely bad. So the higher this is, the lower this is, probably the better it is. Lower the debt, that means more owner's equity for the owner. Okay, so these two ratios have been, debt to equity, debt to asset ratio. These can help you tell about the health of the business, especially looking at their long-term debts. So give it a go with some of the hotels that we've been working on and calculate these ratios.